What you guys, got another video here for you. Windows 11 is still broken. 10 things Microsoft need to fix. Now, they have made a commitment to Windows quality, and they are talking about making fixes to Windows 11 which will make it better. Some people are skeptical, and we're going to go through 10 things that I think Microsoft need to tackle to be able to get Windows 11 stable and make people happy with Windows 11. So the first thing is that hideous start menu. Yes, I know they've already fixed it according to Microsoft, but it is an absolute eyesore. It has very limited customization, and you can see we've got pinned apps here with Microsoft Edge. We've got the category section, which also has Microsoft Edge in it. Why would you need it in two places so close together? We have it on our taskbar, which is more than likely the one that people's going to click on, and we have one on our desktop. You can't freely resize or move the actual start menu like you could on older versions of Windows. The recommended section feels unnecessary for many users, and also users want something closer to Windows 10's flexibility. That's why many people use third-party apps to change their start menu, like Start 11, Start All Back, and so on. Now, if people are installing third-party apps to change what is there, then it's obviously failed and it needs to be changed. Next, we're going to be talking about make the taskbar more flexible. Microsoft have already mentioned about taskbar changes and how they're going to make it available for on the side and up the top, which is something that you can't do in its current state. A lot of people have been complaining about the taskbar with the lack of customization. A lot of people feel this is a downgrade from both Windows 10 and even Windows 7. So Microsoft need to make drastic changes to be able to bring back the taskbar to the way it was before. And again, we shouldn't be having to download third-party apps to make the taskbar much more usable, like Windhawk. If you're having to download third-party apps, surely that's a sign to Microsoft to say it's not functional and it's not working correctly, because these apps should not exist if you have a proper working operating system. And this is the same for every bit we're talking about today, where people are using third-party apps to make it better. Next, we're going to be talking about improved performance on old hardware. This is something I think is really important, because Microsoft have been pretty strict with their system requirements and TPM 2.0 and newer CPUs. Many capable PCs are just left out, and this makes adoption slower than expected. Many people just don't seem to want to use Windows 11. Even if they have a compatible computer, some people are just choosing not to upgrade to Windows 11 because they find it sluggish and they find it a resource hog. And this is where Microsoft need to change things, because not everyone is going to have a Ryzen 7 or a Ryzen 9. Some people are going to go and have a Intel Core i3, or maybe they're going to have an AMD processor, which is on a lower tier. For instance, AMD's Athlon 3000G or something like that, which has lower cores and lower threads. And these are budget CPUs that are compatible with Windows 11. And the shocking thing is Microsoft have blocked a lot of older hardware which will actually beat these actual CPUs. If you look at, say, the i7-7700 against the Athlon 3000G, you will see that this actually outperforms the modern day CPU by quite a bit. And yet the i7-7700 is not compatible for Windows 11 according to Microsoft. And yet this 3000G gets outperformed with that i7-7700. Next, we're going to be talking about reduced bloatware. Microsoft need to go into their operating system and start removing all of the bloat that is unnecessary in this build. People have to go through and basically uninstall all of this junk every single time they install Windows. Some people go as far as downloading, say, Chris Titus Tech's script to basically rip out all of the bloat and all of the junk and making changes to the operating system to make it more usable for a lot of older systems, and even for a lot of people that just don't want all of this telemetry and bloat in the system. So pre-installed applications are just a tip of the iceberg. There's apps like Teams and other things that people can download and install if they want them. They shouldn't be all pre-installed into the operating system. And it will just make a much nicer, cleaner operating system than what we have right now, which is fully bloated and loads of settings have to be changed to turn off a lot of things that you don't actually need. And this is where people start downloading tools off the internet and scripts. Removing ads is another thing that people don't want. This needs to be removed from the operating system because it just slows things up and people don't want to be bombarded with advertisements and things like that. So Microsoft needs to start listening to its users and start removing this bloat from the system, because people are going on the internet and downloading programs like O&O Shutup 10++, Chris Titus Text Tool, or WinHance, or any other script that you can download and basically run it on your PC to clean all this stuff out. And you shouldn't have to do that. Microsoft need to start doing that today to start making the user experience a lot nicer. Telemetry, another thing. They need to ease up and reduce some of the telemetry. Yes, I understand they do need to have some telemetry to be able to maintain their operating system, but data harvesting and also, profiling people, which is what they're basically doing, is not good, and they need to basically reduce that by quite a bit. Microsoft need to start gaining trust back from its users, and the only way they're going to do that is by reducing stuff like we talked about in this video. That's the only way they're going to win people around, and if they start doing that, the operating system will be great again. Fixed settings versus control panel confusion. Here we have control panel, and on the left we have our settings panel. Why do we have no integration in this operating system whatsoever? It's like we have two different operating systems, the old versus the new, and they're still there. I prefer the old look myself because it's simple, one click and you're there, but with the new settings panel, they've buried it deep and you have to go through a bunch of hoops to actually get to that location. So two systems still exist side by side. Some settings are buried and duplicated. Microsoft need to fully commit to one interface and get this the way they wanted it, because as it stands right now, it seems like we're running two operating systems in one. It's the old and the new, and you can see this is the old legacy type style audio, and you've got the new audio inside there. Why don't they phase it out and remove it from the operating system, make it cleaner, lighter, and much more snappier, rather than having it probably bloated with two lots of hardware audio settings that you need to go in and configure. Better File Explorer, that's what we need. A lot of people are saying that it still lacks tabs and improvement. Despite updates, it's slower and less powerful than alternatives. Again, power users often preferred third-party tools like you can see on the left, which give you full customization of the window that we used to be able to do in XP, where you can put cut, copy, paste, and delete and things like that. These options are what people want, but they just don't seem to learn and listen. They've removed them from the new File Explorer. Instead, they've embedded Copilot into the new File Explorer. And this is what they're doing with their platform. Copilot is on a £50 billion loss, and yet they're still pushing it. And they need to downsize Copilot if they're going to try and win people around. Because Copilot is in Notepad, it's in Paint, it's in just about every application. And it's definitely a core feature of Windows 11, which is what some people just don't want. Next, improve updates and less disruption. Many people have complained about botched or broken Windows updates that break the operating system every single time you update Windows. False restarts can still be annoying. Some people have woken up and seen the latest build of Windows 11 on their system and they didn't even ask for it. Updates sometimes break features. They fix one feature and then they break 4 others. It doesn't seem they're doing any testing, and this has been a complaint since Windows 10. A lot of people are complaining about their update program, their update system, and yeah, we got Patch Tuesday. They run out a patch, and a couple of weeks later, out come all of the bugs from that update. I mean, how are they letting that pass their testing phase? They're just pushing it out into the public when it's broken. Let's talk about more consistent design. So the UI on this system is modern in some places and outdated in others. And it feels like a mix of old and new Windows. I've always said that Windows 11 is basically an overcoat on an older operating system, as you can see right here. Some people call it lipstick on a pig, but you can see all these old icons. Why don't we have modern new icons? There's plenty of creators out there that are creating theme packs and also really nice icons for the operating system. Why are we still using old icons that have been around since the dinosaurs? It's really terrible. They really need to up their game. And they could learn a little bit from Linux, because Linux does have some really nice distros that look really modern. Next, better default apps and app ecosystem. What do we mean by that? Well, let's take a look at some of the apps that Windows 11 has. Now, you would think by now that Windows 11 would have something really cool to use, but yet we're still using Paint. I don't know anyone who does any designing inside Paint. Okay, we've just bunged in Copilot inside here, but basically it's so basic you can't really do much with it. Again, there's free applications that work better than this, and there's also online websites that you can use that do a better job than this as well. So you shouldn't have to use third-party applications if you're promoting stuff like say Paint or Notepad or any of the other applications that are just plain and they don't do much. So I would say these built-in apps just feel a little bit basic. Microsoft Store has improved, but it still lacks key apps. Complete your ecosystem like Android and iOS and get some better apps onto this platform. That's what I say. Surely by now we can get a better application for screen capture than Snipping Tool. Yes, it takes a screenshot of your desktop, but you can do print screen and that works pretty fine. It just takes a snapshot of it. But this does actually record your screen. But they should up their game and up their applications. More control for power users. Give people the option to opt out of things and stop forcing people to use Microsoft accounts. Local accounts is what people want. They don't want to be connected to Microsoft all the time. Let them have a choice. If they want to sign into a Microsoft account to sign up to Microsoft Office or Office 365 or any of these things, then give them the option. You don't have to ram it down their throat and force them during the out-of-box experience to set up a Microsoft account. Also, AI is another big problem. A lot of people just don't like the amount of AI that's embedded into Windows, and that really does need to sort of tone it down. They said they are going to tone it down a little bit, but again, it needs to be drastic. So how is all this going to happen, and when is it all going to happen? It's going to probably happen over the next few months, according to Microsoft. So we're just going to have to sit back and wait and see whether actually Microsoft do deliver on some of the things they've been saying. But these are just some of the things that I think that need attention right away, and Microsoft need to address these issues if they're going to win people around and start getting back some trust in the users that use Windows on a daily basis. Anyway, with that said, I think that's going to be about it. My name has been Brian from briteccomputers.co.uk. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below, good or bad, and I shall catch you in the very next video, or I'll see you on our Discord server. The link is in the video description. Bye for now.